Okay, so year 10, what I want to do is I want to take you through this guide and how to start to set up your NEA. So this is obviously quite important. Your teacher should have given you this guide that you're looking through now, and in addition to that, they should have given you this blank template. So the blank template has basically the titles of every page that you need to go through. So obviously the first one will be front cover, and I'm going to talk through this as we go. So a title on every page, which you're going to need to obviously add your work into. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk through this guide. Now it's really important, this word I really want to emphasize. This is just a guide. Okay, so you need to make sure that you use it as such and you do not copy anything on the guide word for word. You need to put your slant on your NEA and you need to do the work obviously yourself, and you must not copy anything that's here, but these are just used as a guide to show you the expectations. So what I'm going to do today is take you through how to use this guide, and also section A on starting, identifying and investigating the design possibilities. So at the bottom here you have all your QR codes. If you want to link those, there are also some on various pages. Okay, so here we have the amount of marks that each of these sections are worth, and a basic time plan of when we're going to be aiming to get these sorts of things done. So we're starting this now in the 1st of June, which is when the contexts come out. July, August, September, obviously some of this is school holidays. You might have some work to do over the summer holidays to make sure that you're ready for moving on to section B in September. Okay, so what are we looking for in section A? Section A is all about identifying and investigating design possibilities. Okay, so we're looking at choosing those contextual challenges that have been given from the exam board and choosing a problem from there. So by analysing the contextual challenges, students will identify design possibilities, investigate clients' needs and wants, and factors including economic and social challenges. Students will be able to use the work of others, past and present, to help them with ideas. Research should be concise and relate to the contextual challenge. Students are also advised to use a range of research techniques, primary and secondary, in order to draw accurate conclusions. Students should be encouraged to investigate throughout their project to help these decisions. So basically what we're looking for here is this Criterion A, or section A, is out of 10 marks. What we need to do is we need to read this description. This is how, when I mark your work, or when your design teacher marks your work, this is the evidence they're going to be looking for. Okay, so we need comprehensive investigations of the need and the wants. We need clear explanation and justifications of all of aspects. We need comprehensive investigation into the work of others. We need excellent design focus and fully understand the impact of society, including economical and social effects. We need to evidence and investigate design possibilities that take place throughout with justification and understanding of the possibilities identified. Okay, so basically we're looking for, first of all, for you to create a front cover. Now this front cover you should start to think about the colour scheme you want throughout your project. I should be able to tell, or your design teacher should be able to tell, when they look at any page, who's NEA here. The colour scheme should be the same, the fonts you use should be the same, and this front cover is your first chance to actually get there and to start looking at the sort of graphical style that you want throughout your NEA. Okay, on this front you need obviously your name, you need the title of your project, which we can obviously add later, and then we need your candidate and centre number. This is the centre number you need for Dubai College, 71645, and then obviously if you don't know your candidate number at this point, that's fine, just leave a space for it. So here, just a nice plain or nice graphical front cover which captures your sort of colour scheme and style. Then what we're going to do is move into the first page of research. Okay, so what we need here, so this is all about investigation of the context, a research plan, analysis of the brief, and the client profile. Okay, and you can see here on the page how this person has decided to set it out. So we need to choose one of the contexts that's been set by the exam board, and the teacher will have given you those contexts. This year they're looking at reducing waste, they're looking at supporting a charity, and they're also looking for help in the home. Okay, so quite open briefs that gives you the opportunity to actually move this in any direction. So you need to think about which one of those contexts you would like to choose, and then you need to start brainstorming or producing a spider diagram, thinking about possibilities for problems. Okay, so start off with maybe the context in the middle, and then branch off in different directions, thinking about ways that you could use those. So you need to write down what the context you've chosen, which one jumps out at you, and then on this spider diagram, we need to look at identifying different areas of which you can do. If you want to zoom in to see this better, you can do. It's quite nice to have this, this is your first page of your NEA, so your graphical style, your presentation is really important, as well as having text. I would advise adding some images to prove the problem, as well as to keep it nicely looking in terms of the graphical style. Okay, we then need to move into a research plan. So in the research plan, this student has decided to do it as a table here. We need to think about what are you going to research. Okay, so we're planning out all the different research methods that you may want to research. You may, for example, want to do some primary research, looking at what already exists. You may want to do a client interview, where you interview your client to find out their needs. All the various research things need to be figured out, so you need to plan out what you want to research. We then move on here to produce a very basic and initial design brief. So in the design brief, as it says here, we need to talk about what you intend to design, why there is a need for the product, or why there is a need to solve this problem, who the product's going to be for, so think about your target market, think about whether it's going to be have a male or female, or whether it's going to be whether you're going to have a certain age group that's referred to in here. Then you need to analyse this design brief. Okay, so you need, again, another spider diagram works nicely in terms of analysing the design brief, talking about pulling out all of the various details that need to be analysed here. And then we move into thinking about a client. So you need a client here, think about who they are, the person, and then their interests, their name, obviously their gender, if they have a relationship, what their hobbies might be, and then some likes and dislikes. So this is your first chance to actually think about your client, who's going to be using the product. And then after this, we are going to have our analysis. Okay, so we analyse everything on this page and talk about why it was useful, how it was useful to you moving forward. And that's basically your first page of research. The second page, this is where we start to identify and investigate design possibilities, thinking about the environment, thinking about analysing products, and analysing and retrieving some data. Okay, so we need to do a site survey. We need to think about where the product's going to be placed. We need to analyse that, figure out potential sizes maybe, and think about analysing that. We need to then think about how someone's going to use our product. There may be from anthropometric or ergonomic data that's collected here, depending on your product, and then we need to do a detailed product analysis. So we need to look at 2 different products that may be similar to the one you're designing, and we need to analyse these, finding out lots of information. So this will be secondary research, looking at different products maybe from the internet, where you can find out things like the cost. This student decided to put the positives and the negatives in green and red font, which works quite nicely. And then after that, we need to analyse all of this research and talk about why you collected it and how it would be useful to you moving forward. Okay, so this is the second page of research, where we look at the intended environment, we think about the product, how it will be used, and then we actually analyse some existing products that already exist on the market. We then move into our third page of research, looking at a client interview and potential mood board, okay, or image board. Now, what you need to do is you need to think about your client needs, what they want. So you need to come up with a range of questions, and hopefully these questions will, like all of the research, will help you later on when it comes to manufacturing a specification or putting a specification together. So you need to come up with a range of questions to find out what they want. These questions may relate to the budget and how much they think they want to spend on the project, may relate to the visual style, they may relate to safety aspects. So whatever you feel is relevant to ask your client, you need to come up with the questions and get their responses. We then need an image board. Okay, now these image boards, we don't want just loads of products that are similar to the one you're designing. You need to think about somebody who's in your target market or your client and produce a range of products or things or services or whatever that they may like. Okay, so you're really trying to get into what it's like to be someone in your target market and put together a range of things. It may be colour boards, it may be cars, automotive, architecture, anything that's potentially things that could inspire maybe the visual style of your product moving forward. You also need to include some reference, and again this was mentioned in the assessment, to social, economic, environmental and sustainable aspects of your product. Are there any things in terms of the environment that you need to be concerned with, or social effects or economic effects that you may need to research? We then, at the end of each of these pages, we need some analysis. So we need to talk about how this information that you've gathered will be useful to you moving forward. Okay, so this is basically a very short video that goes through exactly what you have to do to meet this criteria in section A, looking and first of all choosing a problem and then researching all into your problem to find out all the information you will need moving forward.